Very good morning, guys. My name is Shivraj, and I have started a new series in my YouTube channel that is named as Gen Z JavaScript. So, in this series, we will be learning React.js, Angular, and JavaScript. All the important concepts we will be learning here. And I am a full stack developer with having 10 plus year of experience under my belt. And guys, please subscribe to my channel so that you will be notified for all the upcoming videos. Thank you.
So guys, in this video, we're gonna understand preserving and resetting state in React.js. So how we can preserve and reset state? It's a very important concept to learn about. If you are an experienced developer, you must know how React preserves or reset these states. So what we gonna learn in this from this official documentation, which are very good, I must say. When React choose to preserve or reset the state, how to force React to reset the component state, and how keys and types affect whether the state is preserved or not. Okay, so remember one thing: state is tied. See this line: state is tied to the position in the render tree. So render tree is basically whatever you are seeing on the your browser, all those components, everything, right, that you are seeing in your screen. There can be multiple component or a single component that is being displayed in the browser. So whenever, whenever you see anything visual, that is all in a tree structure format which React's made, and that is how you are able to see the rendering. That is how React remembers where each component is positioned, right? And why position is very important, because you must see this line: state is tied to a position in the render tree. So there is a tree, you can think of as a binary tree. So that in that tree you have various components, and state is tied to the position. Let's understand this deeper with the help of examples, very good examples, I must say. So the first example is, we have in line number 7, line number 8, two counter components. If you are not aware of the basics in the React, you can go through my previous videos where I have explained line by line. Here also I will try to explain, but you can see my previous videos to understand line by line what is happening in this code. Here I will keep our focus onto the lines which we wanted to understand, right? So here we will understand this counter component, right? This counter component, line number 7, line number 8. So at two positions we are rendering it, right? So in two positions we want to display it. So what will happen? Yeah, these are two, this one add one, this add two, these are two in two separate positions, right? That's why they are having their, see, any React component, any React component that is being displayed in the screen, they are having their own state, right? So that is why if I change something here, it is not impacting other. And you can also see here in the example, we only have this score. So there is single score state which is being used by these two components. So these, but because these are two different positions we are showing, right? So two times. So that's why they are having their own state. There also I will show you where this is written. When you give a component state, you might think it lives inside the component, but state is actually held inside that is correct, held inside the React. And here there is only counter JSF, but it is rendered at two different positions. So we have only single counter component, but it is rendered in two different positions. So here how it is looking in the tree. So this is a div, right? This is a div section in the code. You will see this is a div, line number 6. So inside this div, so this is how the diagram is. We have two counter component, and both are having their own state, right? Now what we will see, so these are two separate counters, each is rendered as at its own position in the tree. You don't usually have to think about the position to use React, but it can be useful to understand how it works. That is correct. So that is what we are going to understand here. Now in this example, what is happening, we will see in this example what we are trying to learn. So in this example also, uh, they both the component have separate state, right? See, here also we are doing the same thing. We have two counter component that we are displaying here, and it is using the state from here. There is a single state this counter has, but because we are displaying it two times by writing this tag two times, right here, that's why, and each will maintain its own state, so it is not dependent on other. So this is what we are seeing here. As you can see, when one counter is updated, only the state for this component is updated, right? Like this is a diagram div. So this counter has 0, but this has 1. Why? Because we have pressed this. Like if you press this will change, it will not impact this. So this is what uh, they have shown with this diagram. You can go through this document to understand it in detail. These are very good documentation, I must say, and you will have edge over other experienced developers if you go in details in the official documentation. And React will keep the state. Okay, and let's go through the other example. Now this is a third example, right? So in this third example, what we are doing, see, we have a checkbox, right? We have a checkbox. With this we are removing and adding it again. We are hiding and showing it again, this component. But see, if you are hiding and showing some component again, so whenever you are like hiding or removing it, at that time it will destroy it, the component. So straight also gets destroyed, and when you will show it again, so the straight is initialized from scratch. So that's why if you do it something like this 5, if you remove it, if you bring it back, you will see state as a 0. But in this you cannot remove it, right? So this remains same. So this is what you are going to learn from this, that if you remove or add something, then it loses its state, right, in React. So this is you are learning from third example. And here we have an input checkbox, and on checkbox, on change event, we are doing this on change event. What we are doing, we are setting e.target checked. So this is how we are setting, and we are changing the value. So this is set show. We have set set show b. Where is set show b? This set show b is a this is a when you whenever you create a u whenever you use use state hook in React, so it gives you an array. That array consists of a state, that is show b, and one is you have state updater function. So set show b is a state updater function, and you know, whenever you update any state, the component also re-renders whenever the state changes, right, with the help of this. So that's why we are not using simple let variables, because they will not render the state, they will not render the component. So you will not be able to see the updated value. That's why in React we use this kind of use state, this kind of state we use to update or to show anything. So now from third example, you understood that if you are removing or adding something, then it loses its state, and then on again bringing it back, it will initialize from the scratch. See, this is how they are showing. Notice how the moment you stop rendering the second counter, it disappears completely. That's because when React removes a component, it destroys the state, right? And when it brings back, it is initialized to 0. Why? Because we have set its state, its state score is set to 0. That's why it is initialized again to 0, right? From this third example, we learned this. Now from the fourth example, same component at same position, preserve state. See, here we have is fancy. So whenever is fancy is true, it will render this. Sorry, where it went. Same component renders state. Wait. Same component. So what it will do? So what it will do? It will just give me a minute. So what it will do? Let's scroll to the top where the heading is. State is tied to the position in the render tree. This we have covered. This we have covered. Same component at the same position, preserve state. Yeah, we were here. So in this, what we are going to understand. So here we have is fancy, right? Is fancy is a boolean value. Yes, it is a boolean value in line number 4. This is a state which contains a boolean value, so it will have false or true, right? So is fancy is either false or true. So if it is true, then it will print this one, line number 8. If it is false, then it will print the second one. But remember, always it will be the div's first child, right? So to react, it will be like there is no change of position, right? And same component is being rendered. So that's why here it will not lose state. See, if you click on adding this, see, now the other one has come up. See, with the help of color, with the help of colors, we have differentiated between the two. But see, on use fancy styling, it is not changing, right? So same, because it is at the same position. So if you keep your component like this in the same position, so it will retain the state, right? When you tick on or clear the checkbox, the counter state does not get reset. See, whether is fancy is true or false, you always have counter at the as the first child of the div, return from the root app component, right? Like this. So in diagram also it is shown in a very clear way. So here is fancy is false, here is fancy is true. Div it will be a first child, so that's why. And now we will be understanding different component at the same position. So now, as we know, if it is in the same position, the same component, then it will not lose its state, right? But what happens if you use other component at the same position? So what that means, so different types, it is different types, right? So if we have one counter and one is p type of component, so what we are doing, with the help of same technique which we used earlier, previous example, we are using a ternary operator. In ternary operator we have is pause. If it is true, it will show this. If false, it will show this counter. But because they are having different types, that's why here it will not retain the state. See, 1 2, see, 0. See, whenever we are changing it, it is starting from scratch. It is destroying basically. So here, when you switch between the different component types at the same position, initially the first child of div contains the counter, but when you swapped in a p, React removed the counter from UI tree and destroyed its state. Why? Because of different types. When counter change, when switching it back, also whether you render the different component in the same position, it resets the state. This is how increment counter then tick. You can go in details about the documentation, but I think I have given you enough knowledge on this. Now, what is this? Same thing. So now resetting state at the same position. How we can reset? If see, we have learned that if you are at the same position, it will retain its state, right? But if we want to reset it, how we can do it? How we can reset it at the same position? So for that, first we'll learn how many ways we can do this. See, there are two ways to reset the state when switching between them. One is rendering it at different position that we know. Two ways to reset state when switching between them. One is to rendering. This we already know. If you are changing the position, it will destroy the earlier one and start from scratch. So state will get destroyed and then it will be initialized, right? And the second one is give each component an explicit identity with key. This key you must have seen whenever you are showing a list using the map. There also you are giving a unique key, right? So this unique is very important. If you are giving the unique key to the components, then it knows, okay, this is a different component, this is a different component. With the help of key, you are able to reset the state. See here what we are doing. So here what in this example, this is not that example. Here we are not passing key, right? So this is not the example. Below one is example. So yeah, this is the option one, rendering a component at different position. So here what we are doing, this is a div and this is the curly braces. So this is one position, this is second position. So here we are
uh, first child, second child, like this. So we have two different positions. So that's why here it will not retain state. See, next player it is starting from zero. See, if you do it 4 5, again if you change player, it is making it zero, because zero is the initial state. If you are not aware of state and all those, please refer to my previous videos. You must know state and hooks, then only you will be able to understand all this, right? This is some advanced, you can say, some deeper. When you know state, then only you can understand all these examples. If I try to explain you state in this video, it is already 15 minutes, so it will be very big. So that's why please refer to my previous videos. There I've explained all the line by line, all these states, how it works. Here also I tried, right? So this is how you can do with the different positions. And second one is with the help of key. So simply pass the key prop like this, resetting state with the key. So you can simply pass. You have been seen keys when rendering the list, right? So with parent, do this kind of, for example, Taylor uses this is for example, to do not share. So like this you can see. So to this counter, you are passing this key also now. So this key, you can say it as an attribute. So this key, whenever you write this, it differentiates. So it knows now is player A. This counter is having different key. So this is a different counter and this is a different one, right? So that's why it is differentiating between the two, and that is why you are able to do it like this. See, and whenever we will change it, it will initialize to zero. See, yeah, Sahara score is zero. Now Sahara score is 5 and next player is 0. So that is why it is able to reset it, because you are using the same counter. If you remember in the very first example, this is the same example, but here we have only the changes. We are passing key now, because this counter is the first child of this diff, right? Always. So it will not reset state. But why? Because we are passing key and keys are different. One is Taylor, one is Sarah. That's why it is differentiating between the two, and that's why it is like initializing it again the state. So this is how we have all the examples. I hope you understand this. Resetting with the key, and both we have seen. So I think we are good. And you can also refer to this very good example of forms showing the chat app. So in this chat app, what they have done. So like this, if you write something here, see, if I do Alice, Bob, it is not changing, right? So what will happen? Simply think it as of a WhatsApp. In WhatsApp, you have three people, and if you're typing something and you're clicking on Alice, then also message is showing over there. So it can be possibility that by mistake, if we click on send Alice mail, it will be sent to that person, but it should not, right? So it should be, if I click on Taylor, so it should be only binded with Taylor. It should not, when I click on Alice, it should be reset, right? Because we have not written it for Alice. So how we can achieve it? Simply with the help of keys we have done. So what we have done, we have, let me show you quickly. You can go through this example, but let me show you how it works. So we have this contact, right? This contact have three objects, so three users, and a user contains ID, name, email. So ID is unique 012. So with the help of this ID, we are able to pass it to the key. So 2.id is this ID. So 012. So now we have three users and three different IDs binded with the key. That's why we're able to differentiate them. So now when you write Taylor and when you write something here, CC or VV to Taylor, then Alice, if I click, it is resetting. Bob, it is resetting, right? So if you write to Alice, if you write something AA, right? Let me type here. Let me close this. A. This is for Alice. So if I click on Bob, it should not go to Bob. So it should remove it, right? So this is how it is useful using the key. So I hope I'm able to explain you how state can be managed in the components in React, and in how we can reset it, how we can preserve it, and this will help you when you are working in the application. You don't have to explicitly write some functions to clear, or to reset some state or to preserve it. If you know these ways, you can simply use this key, or you can use quickly use different positions to play around, right? So thank you very much, guys. I have started this Gen Z series where I am trying to explain all the React, and later on I will bring Angular videos also. So please keep sharing and please engage in comments. Please write down comments. I will answer you over there. and I will try to make more good videos, good quality videos, so that if you go through these videos, you will gain some good knowledge. This is my aim, and I'm trying my best. So I hope with each video, the quality will be improving day by day in all the aspects. So guys, please do comments what you liked in this video, and if there is anything that we have missed or anything that is not correct, please mention in the comments. We'll reply over there, and that's how we can share knowledge and we will become a great developers. Thank you guys.